All right, welcome to the Horse Racing Hoppy Hour. Hoppy Hour.
Hospy Hour. Are we at a hostel today? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I was thrown because of the abrupt stop there of the music, but
Look, the DJ it's at his discretion. Not all of us can be DJ Mike Ice.
I guess not.
Can't be that. What was your horrible DJ name again?
I don't think I had a horrible DJ name. I did DJ a lot in high school though. Yeah. It's house party DJ.
Ones and twos.
Yeah. Well,
were you the DJ because you already had a girl, or were you trying to get girls?
Well, you already know the answer to that.
Trying to get girls.
No, she was. I was the house party guy.
I was the guy that could. I was in charge of the booze of the party. Too. That's what.
Well,
I know which house that is. Yeah. I was the guy who watched the booze at parties because people knew I wasn't chasing the girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
I was the lame guy. Yeah. That's how that goes.
I was the guy who was filling up the dude's beer bottle with water so he could act like he was drinking, but he really wasn't.
That was a play in high school for sure.
Yeah, that's whatever you got to do. So I feel like we haven't seen each other in a while.
I have an Uncle Steve taught me how to drink without drinking.
What?
Like the beer bottle with the water.
Uncle Steve taught me how to drink with drinking.
Like how to be at a party and not get in trouble kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was Uncle Steve.
Yeah. Still have like bottle around, like no one knows. I mean, Budweiser's basically
the key too is like if you need a day off, you just grab, you grab a club soda or something. You got the koozie. The koozie's the hot.
This is slowly going to go into like the beer, like the cheap beer choice that goes around. What was it in Michigan?
Oh, growing up, some version of like Labatt.
Labatt, okay.
Yeah, and then at IU it was Keystone Light. Zach can attest to that. The Dirty 30 was definitely Keystone.
The Dirty 30.
But at Michigan State it was Busch Light.
Yeah. And
I think you get a 30-pack for.
See, my 90s high school college days was like the Mad Dog malt liquor and the Zima with the Jolly Rancher. So I never did that though. I can honestly say so.
It sounds pretty bad.
Yeah,
people do it.
One of those things, So we are going to have a great show today. We're gonna have someone on the show today who hit a 6-figure bet 3 figures to hit 6 figures. That's a pretty good return on your investment.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
Not bad at all. We're gonna have our man Barry Spears on the show today. We're gonna talk a little Saratoga. We're gonna talk a little of Colonial Downs, although I'm not really sure why. And then
I like that there's $1 million race, and you're like. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it.
It's more like, why are we at Colonial Downs kind of thing. But
let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
Because Mike Mills is listening. He's there.
Yeah.
And very excited because he's a Virginia guy.
Okay.
And like first grade 1 ever in the state of Maryland. Or state of Virginia, excuse me.
Because the Virginia Derby is a grade 3. It's a $300,000 race, by the way. The Commonwealth Derby.
Right.
Or they call it both, I think. But
are they stealing our stuff is what you're saying?
They are.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Like they gave us the mid-julep. But you can't call yourself Commonwealth anymore.
Well, they're actually, I guess, the Commonwealth before we were the Commonwealth. So we were the Commonwealth because
up yours, Pennsylvania and Massachusetts. I shake my fist. There you
go. I guess that's true. We were probably the last Commonwealth state. So,
no, 1789.
Yeah, but Pennsylvania would have been before us. Massachusetts, Virginia.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So there you go. A little geography history lesson here.
Take that, Ohio. We're not part of you anymore.
Okay, let's talk. I got to go in this order. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Look, let's talk White Barrio.
Okay, so we're going out of order.
It is White Barrio season, right? I mean, okay.
That's out of order, but that's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, just look.
I got scolded. Zach got scolded for going out of order.
I agree with you. So, on this show, we invite you to fall in love with random horses, right? And I would say that White Barrio is one of those random horses. Yes?
I would agree. Also, I just want to make sure that everyone sees what I'm drinking today. I'm drinking the finest of sparkling waters, Saratoga sparkling water.
I just want to be 100% clear. It's only when Mike does it that I don't like it. Look, Louis, I'm already ready for you.
There it is. But in a Whitney where we have talked about, Mike, the older dirt male class not being the strongest it's ever been.
Correct.
For sure. We get an upset here, and I'm not sure that we should have been surprised because Cody's Wish stretching out to a mile and an eighth was absolutely a question mark. Zandon loves to run second.
Sure.
It's what he does. And White Barrio's won a grade 1 before. I know we laugh at it and whatever else and, the Safi stuff, but here he is in the Dutro barn winning the Whitney. Zach, go ahead.
It's still giant game and White Barrio puts his gray head in front coming to the quarter pole. Zandon's had a beautiful trip angling out. Cody's Wish has a lot of work to do from there. And Chargett is trying to rally there at the top of the stretch in the Whitney. And White Abarrio is the leader narrowly over Giant Game. Zandon, Cody's Wish on the outside, still 4 lengths behind White Abarrio, who's running the race of his life. Look at White Abarrio and Arad Ortiz Jr. in a runaway. White Abarrio wins by almost 6 lengths. Zandon.
I mean, that's pretty solid.
It also needs to be said.
Say it.
Zandon is the new Tacitus.
I would-
Big stages,
Yes.
getting the checks, but not winning the races. That's who Zandon is. And then so like it is what it is. And I'm not mad at him.
No.
Go get the checks. That was probably what, a $250,000 check, second place there.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's 200. It's $1 million race, so go get that check. I would run that horse till he's 7 if he runs second in the grade ones.
Yeah, those
Like,
are
just
still
get the
they're good
checks.
checks. Yeah.
100%. So yeah,
I'm
so there you go.
pulling up just for curiosity. I want to see what these times were. Now, I mean, of course, he wasn't pushed, right? So White Abarrio, the fractions were pulling up the chart.
Little chart action
A
on the
little
Thursday.
chart action.
How about
Final time was 1:48.45.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's real good.
He was flying at the end too.
Yeah, I mean, so the real question here is, this was the test to see does Cody's Wish decide to go for the classic
Sure.
for the payday? I don't know now. I think it's not his deal. He's a one-turn horse, and that's nothing wrong with that.
And to be fair to Cody's Wish, he did win that 2-turn dirt mile in the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland last year.
Yeah.
He's got to go do that again if he's going to repeat in that race over 2 turns again at Santa Anita. It's the same course layout essentially for that race. And so I think you're right. I think he's shown that he's a miler at most. I think that Pat Day distance at Churchill, that 1-turn mile,
perfect.
is probably perfect for him.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so I again would love to own a horse like Cody's Wish. And so I do think though once in a while you do find out from these kinds of races what horses are best at or what they're best suited for. At least in this case, we find that now. The real question is, can White Abarrio get any kind of consistency going into the fall? And here's the thing. I understand why they're doing it, but I don't love it. They're going to train him up to the Breeders' Cup Classic. So we're not going to see him again. Where do you think? I don't either. Where do you think he ends up? 16, 18 to 1?
Man, I'll tell you what.
Even in this field?
It's still there's so much to shake out. I mean,
How about
there's
this?
so much
Because I think I know how you feel about the 3-year-old class.
I didn't get to, by the way, have my take last week because I wasn't on about. I think that I'm shocked, by the way, that Forte was not taken down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're probably not. You're probably like, oh, yeah, it's all legit.
I didn't say that, but
Yeah.
I understand I read at Saratoga that ain't coming down. And then he gets the suspension after.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But no, the real question is, would you rather have White Abarrio in the Classic or all 3-year-olds?
Ooh,
Because I think that's where we are in this conversation.
I'll take Forte.
You'll take the 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I probably agree with you. But I think that we have to think about it at all talks to the level of the older dirt males this year.
When was the
going to
last time
third
that the top 3 finishers in the Met Mile were the same top 3 finishers in the Whitney?
I would guess almost
Never.
certainly never.
Zero. That is unbelievable.
Where did Zana finish in the Met Mile?
Second.
Again?
That's what he does.
They went 1, 2, 3. Well, they flipped it.
They flipped
the
it.
first and third.
Yeah, third.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Huh. But that's Zana, baby. Get those checks, dog.
Get it. And I'll tell you, I do not like White Abarrio going straight from here to the Breeders' Cup.
I agree with that.
It's never. I don't think it's ever played out well that way, especially on the dirt races. So I think it pretty much eliminates him from my ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
I sitting here today, I tend to agree with you.
yeah. Look at that. So for Zandon, that's 4 out of the last 5 races that he's coming second. So there you
Get
go.
those checks, baby.
Get him, including the Pennsylvania Derby, which he lost to Tava. And that's the horse that I'm still kind of,
Which version of that
what
horse
we're
are we
gonna
going to
see?
get?
But we still haven't seen Tava run this year.
Right.
So I guess we'll see.
Are
him.
they training him up to the Pacific Classic?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, they still haven't announced the next race for Tava, and that's the one 4-year-old that I think could still jump up and get it. And but
You've been a fan of his.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, over a year for
Yeah.
sure.
Dan's probably rolling his eyes at me.
I don't know that that's true.
He's shadow
Actually,
producing right now.
Yeah, I don't know that that's true, but let's go ahead, Zach. Let's move to the middle race on there, the Saratoga Derby here. Man, we did this once, but how many derbies are run on the grass versus the ones that are run on dirt?
It's like a third, right?
Yeah. 30% sounds about 35% sounds about right. But we get the Chad Brown house stunning in this one with
The British
program
horse.
trading.
Far Bridge is coming alive on the outside with a wide bid, and Battle of Normandy just inside of him. They're at the top of the stretch, Program Trading and Web Slinger out in the center of the course. Web Slinger just in front. Program Trading fighting bravely 2 lengths back. Far Bridge is in third, followed by Battle of Normandy, a 16th to go. And it's Web Slinger and Program Trading. Program Trading, Resilient coming back on the inside. Program Trading would not be denied. And what a way.
Program Trading was the second choice in the race, but ended up getting the win. Pretty good race right there.
Yeah, no, great stretch run there. A little re-kick on there. What were the fractions in that race, Mike? Because that's one where it's a little. You need to go see an eye doctor. It's a little a little strange to watch the horse get past and then be able to catch up like that.
Yeah,
Stands
so
out
the
a little
opening
bit,
quarter was 23.74.
Okay.
The opening half 49.59.
So slowed it way down. Okay.
Yeah, then a mile and 14 or minute and 14, 4-1, minute 38.74.
And was he on the lead essentially the entire race except for that one part of the stretch?
He was, until the top of the stretch
Okay.
at the 138, and then the final time was 156.63.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 138 is a pretty reasonable fraction too. So okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, Chad Brown. We'll see what he can do at Colonial this weekend. So that's a race he's won a bunch in the Arlington Million. So see if he can bounce back with that one.
Pretty mischievous winning the test. Obviously, we're not going to show you that race after the tragedy. I'm glad that Joel's okay. Everybody's good except for the horse. It's obviously tragic. Yeah. I'm guessing that we won't have a Travers now, that they're going to have to close the track down since that's like 7 horse tests. And, we'll have to go that route, right? We're going to close the track.
Move to Finger Lakes.
Yeah, I guess that's probably what we'll do. We'll just have a little Finger Lakes, Travers at the Finger Lakes.
Fred Aqueduct's available.
I mean, why not, right? I mean, it's obviously something. It must be unsafe.
I mean,
and I'm not making light of the horse time, by the way. I just don't want to make. I want to make sure that's tragic. Every single time we have a horse.
The Maple Leaf Medal thing was impossibly hard to watch.
Yeah, and pretty mischievous though. I think is obviously starting to separate herself as the top 3-year-old filly.
Yeah, especially 2-turn.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just interesting. I don't feel like Saratoga's getting nearly the kind of crap that Churchill Downs was getting.
Sherwood tried.
Yeah. That's my boy.
That's what the LA Times is for.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
I also think that Churchill Downs kind of didn't mind shutting down to kind of get ready for Derby 150 and sports gambling.
His name is Mike Gandolfo, at Big Mike Gandolfo on Twitter.
Nobody can fire me. Can't cancel this. I might get even saltier later on.
That's a great
again.
Man, if you wanted to have
Saratoga sparkling water,
it brings out all the salt.
The most pretentious sparkling water.
I do wonder, if other people have the conspiracy theory level sort of stuff of like they want to get ready for sports betting, so not having horses there when the on-track attendance. So like every day, our guy Tim Wilkin was with the Albany Times Union for years. Always tweets out the paid attendance at Saratoga. It's always over 20,000.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Now, how many days in the total year are there 20,000 people at Churchill Downs? So obviously 3 on Derby week at least.
Thanksgiving Day.
A couple of the Saturdays that they do the night racing, right?
For sure.
Like 10,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. They do it 40 times in a row.
Yeah. Well, Keeneland's kind of
like Keeneland's absolutely the same.
Yeah.
I was just going to bring that up actually. And so,
I mean, that's where the horse racing sports at its best.
Where the sales are?
Spa. And Keeneland.
The sales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan likes Keeneland more than I like Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, Dan has 3 kids.
Yeah.
Number 3, Scott. Number 2, his daughter. And number 1, Keeneland. Yeah, no, that's how it is. Speaking of people who are ranked third, we bring in Scott Issel. This is so I have
I've
to
never
say,
actually talked to or
I've never talked to Scott before.
Are you serious?
I've texted with him. That's
I thought for sure you had.
No. So for our anniversary show,
Zach, you put Scott on the show or what? All right, there he is.
So for our anniversary show on Issel and Louie on ESPN 680, and Scott, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Oh, he looks like his dad. See,
I'm
this
sorry.
was what.
Don't
Yeah.
say
See,
that.
I was. Oh man, I was like, okay, maybe he looks like Sherry.
also
Maybe he's got that going for him.
I wish.
But yeah, so Scott joins us. So Scott, the last listener we had on that hit a big ticket, picked off 40% of the cross country pick 5 and turned a $20 ticket into, God, Rob made what, 25 grand?
That sounds about right.
Sound about right?
Yeah.
That's a good ticket. $20 into 25 grand is a good ticket. I think on Saturday you would have been totally fine with 25 grand. That is not what happened. Tell people what did happen, Scott.
So yeah, it's I wish I had a better story about spending hours and hours poring over the PPs, but found myself at home alone on Saturday morning. My wife is a real estate agent, was showing a house, and the kids were gone. And I said, "Oh yeah, today's the Whitney," and downloaded the PPs. Spent a good 12 minutes, I'll say, pouring through the PPs, and got to the last leg and said, I've only got a 24 multiple here, and there's 10 horses in this last race. I'll just hit the all button and move along. So as fate would have it, that was where the money was made. That and Cody's Wish getting beat, obviously, in the Whitney.
So in that win,
White Barrio helped out a little bit.
A little bit,
Yeah.
I was going to ask about the Whitney. So you're looking through the past performances. You just mentioned you spent 12 hours with them. What did you see in that Whitney? Was that simply just did you go all in that race, or was that one where you were like, what, I did all the distance there?
No, I had White Barrio, Zandon, and Cody's Wish. And that was the field, or that was the race that I went the deepest in, for no real other reason and the funny thing is my middle name is Cody. And I still went against Cody's Wish, but White Barrio I'd followed for a while, admired him, such a good looking horse, and put him in, and then Zandon with his Derby Trail and things like that. Had been following him for a while. So it was a race that I went 3 deep in, just because I thought maybe today's not Cody Wish's day.
I went, I called Zandon the new Tacitus. Do you agree with me? Runs in a bunch of big races, gets a check, but doesn't win them.
Exactly. Loves to hit the board. Loves to be in the conversation.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Scott Issel joining us from the Denver area. Appreciate him jumping on. Prior to this, what was your biggest hit? So we're talking about a $360,000 hit here. I have a question about his marriage in a minute, but before this, what was your biggest hit? Scott, I have to be honest, I think mine's like a $1,400 pick 5 or something.
So to correct you, it was 380.
That's right, because you got the 5 out of 6.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I had that multiple times, but prior to this, goodness, I had the pick 6 on Breeders' Cup Day. It was either last year or the year before that I think returned 26. But I was in that with about 15 other guys. So,
yeah, right. Good
so I can't claim that one. Solo, I'm probably on the same wavelength as yourself. Maybe 1,500, something like that.
All right, so walk me through. You're coming up on the last leg. You realize you've got all. You're live. Jockey change happens. Jose Ortiz ends up on a horse. I literally was texting with your dad, and I said, holy bleep, he's got Jose Ortiz and Javier Castellano for $360K.
Yeah.
Do you tell anyone? Do you?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
The only person I told was my dad, and I called him just to say, am I looking at the right thing here on my TVG? And the app has the horses that you have in the last leg, right, and then the corresponding payouts next to it. And I looked at it for probably 90 seconds before it dawned on me that is this really the case? Do I have the whole pool with, I believe it was the 6, 8, and 9?
Yes.
And I went back and looked at the form, and I thought same thing as you. I said, the 6 horse has a chance here. Right. And so, I thought that the 12 and the 1, both in that race, who would have returned somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000, definitely had the best shot. But I thought I had a puncher's chance. And if you watch the race, the 6 horse goes in like the 6 path into the first turn. And I said, well, that's the end of that.
So what was the lowest possible payout? What was the
lowest payout? Was 14.
All right,
and it was the 1 who galloped out well past the 6. I think the 1 was the best horse in the race if you go back and watch. he got in a little bit of trouble. But as they turn for home, I've watched probably hundreds of thousands of races, and as they turn for home, most of the time I can identify the winner at that point. And I said, well, here comes the 12, and the 6 can't have anything left. And the 12 drew even with him, and the 6, when they went eye to eye, the 6 horse saw him and just kicked clear in those last couple of jumps.
Good old Joe Sharp. You know what makes Joe Sharp special? He's married to a redhead. That's what it is.
That's how it is.
That's what it is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well,
Little
I have a
Rosie.
redheaded son, so
He does.
Yeah.
He calls him a son, but he's like this. Yeah.
Is that the baseball player?
No.
yes.
No. It is.
Well,
Okay.
one of them. Yeah, there are a
Yeah.
lot of baseball players.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I know is that Dan spends all weekend watching baseball.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
And then curses me because when he jumps on this show, his grandsons hit home runs and strike out the side and do that.
Yeah.
That was the redhead, yeah.
There. All right. So, you are now going to be, this is a segment we've been doing. The first person to be the Horse Racing 101 person for our group was a woman named Jenna Antonucci. Have you heard of Jenna Antonucci before?
I have not.
Okay. Well, she trained the Belmont winner this year.
Archangelo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
First woman to ever train a classic winner. And so we had her on. Well, I shouldn't say that. You contacted her and she jumped on with us.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. And so she was great. And we said, hey, what is your day like? And she described her day and essentially tried to talk everyone in the world out of becoming a trainer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she did. So we're going to try to have you not talk people out of betting because then our sport goes away and that would be bad. But I wanted to thank our friends at the Maryland Horse Breeders Association and welcome in to Horse Racing 101. We're going to talk ticket construction with Scott Issel.
I mean, do you not want to do the whole lead in or what?
There's no better time. It's not that one. It's
Okay.
no better time to breed and race in Maryland. The Maryland breds racing and open overnight races in Maryland do receive a 15% owner bonus and a 15% developer bonus with any top 3 finish. To learn more from the Maryland folks, give them a call at 410-252-2100 or visit them online, marylandthoroughbred.com. All right, Scott, so you put this ticket together very quickly. You and I have very different budgets. I can't cap for 12 minutes and put together a $240 ticket. What is your Saturday like usually? Like, I'll ask a different question. Today's Thursday. Did you bet a horseshoe Indianapolis? Did you bet Saratoga? Did you bet any of that stuff today?
No, I am much more of a fan than I am a bettor. I follow the bloodlines. My dad installed that in me at a young age when we had the broodmare farm in Kentucky. So I'm much more of a fan of watching bloodlines, stallions, especially young stallions, to see who's going to be the next Into Mischief, who's going to be the next Tappet. That's my interest in thoroughbred racing. Typically, I'm not a big bettor outside of the big days. But when all the eyes are on the sport, that's when I will occasionally place a pick 6 ticket or a pick 5.
When you're putting that pick 6 together this past weekend, you said you didn't go very deep in a lot of these legs, and you mentioned an angle that you have, which is the breeding side. I think that's completely legitimate. Sure. Are you just trying to pick winners? Are you trying to get value? What is the Scott Issel approach here?
Yeah, so I went to business school and got an MBA, and have always loved statistics. And one thing that I always remembered a professor once telling me about the stock market is it's not enough to be right. You got to be different. Because if you're right, everybody else is going to be right if you're not different. And so that's something that's always stuck with me, and something that I kind of try to apply when I'm putting a ticket together. You've got to step out at some point if you want to try to go for a big payout. I like to make fun of my dad who loves to bet pick 3s, and if he goes, what's that?
We like to make fun of your dad too.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If he goes 3 deep in a race, he's got the favorite, the second choice, and the third choice. If he goes 2 deep in a race, he has the favorite and the second choice. and that's where being different comes into play. If you're going to go and try to get a big payout, being different is something that you gotta do. And you mentioned, Louis, not having maybe the bankroll to play in all. There are times when I'll bet every odd horse in the race or every even horse in the race if I don't have enough to go as deep as betting and all. But in order to win and to win big in parimutuel racing, you've got to have a different ticket than everybody else. So I think it's important to and usually what I like to do is in a race, if there's a $10,000 claiming race in the mix, that's a good race to go deep in my opinion, because who knows? These aren't the elite athletes that you see out there. So follow your fandom, the sires that you like, the big names that you like, and then try to find value in one of those other smaller pots.
All right. So we want to thank again our friends at Maryland Thoroughbred, MarylandThoroughbred.com. Call them 410-252-2100 to get involved with the Maryland Horse Breeders Association and all of the good action happening in Maryland. That has been Scott Issel's take on how to build a winning ticket.
There it is.
Pretty good.
He's done it.
A question for Scott then, following up. Your horse comes in, the 6 comes in, the number's legit, and you're married to a woman. What's the next step after that?
So I was watching the race live with my youngest son. Again, I'm the only one in the house that knows what's going on. And as the 12 horse looks like he's going to win and overtake, I thought, well, that's a nice ticket. And to be real honest, if we're in the trust tree here, I don't know that I would have told Kristen about that one. But when there's W-2s involved and gigantic tax return implications, that went out the window pretty quick. But she came down the stairs right as they went under the wire, and I was white as a sheet. And I didn't make a sound as they were going down the stretch. I was just sort of in stunned silence. But evidently I was white as a sheet. And she looked at me and said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I need to speak to you outside for a second." and we walk out there, and she looks at me, and she's almost got tears in her eyes, like, "What is happening? Like, what's going on here?" And I said, no, this is good. That race I was just watching, I won $380,000. and it's great, and it's awesome. Half of it's going to the government and half of it's going to Kristen. So I was
about to say, so you tell your wife, "Oh, that $100,000 taxes we have to put in this year, that was just a mistake. Don't worry about it, hon."
Right. But it was the thrill of a lifetime. It was dumb luck. I'd love to tell you that I'm the smartest guy out there, but it'll probably never happen again. But it was quite a thrill.
Well, there you go, man.
Wayne Gretzky, 100% of the shots you don't take, don't go in.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. Shoot or shoot.
He's Scott Issel. How about that? It's been a minute. Your dad has not besmirched your basketball skills on air in a long time. Do we need to get back to doing that? Or are you still picking the ball up? You got a little hoop at home? What are you doing these days?
Other than getting beaten by my sons on occasion, it's not something that I do anymore. As I reached about 40 years of age, all of my skill left. And I didn't have a whole lot of it to start with. I always tell my father if I was his size, I'd be in the Hall of Fame too. But it's something that I loved as a kid, and loved competing and loved playing. And he never pushed. He was the greatest in the world as far as he would have rather watched me play baseball than play basketball, probably because he'd been there, done that, and he wasn't much of a baseball player. But no, it's I don't pick up the ball much anymore, other than to let my kids prove how good they are and how much better they are than I am.
Hey, man, Scott, really appreciate you coming on. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Better person. So
yeah.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So that's pretty amazing stuff right there. Good interview.
It's just a good reminder too. Like, it's one of the reasons. Look,
hey, and Dan just left the back room. I mean, like,
he's done.
You know,
Dan's gone. No, it's a reminder though for people listening. like, number one, you don't know which day is going to be your day.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right. Which is awesome. But it's another reminder too, if you feel strongly about something like Scott mentioned, go for it. You also have to have a short memory. You got to kind of be, as kids play baseball, you got to kind of be a closing pitcher and just let it go when it doesn't work, right? I mean, it's just
or a shooter,
like
we talked about.
Or be a shooter. There you go. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next story because this is something I think is kind of interesting.
Okay.
So the Preakness has come out and said that they want to move the start date of the Preakness to be 4 weeks after the Derby, which basically puts it, last week of May, first week of June, depending on how the calendar falls.
By the way, before we get too deep into this conversation, let's give full credit. This is Thoroughbred Daily News.
Okay.
Bill Finley was the one who got the scoop on this.
All right. I have lots of comments about this. So I'm really actually very interested. First off, I just don't think it matters.
What does that mean?
Well, the Triple Crown, in essence, is really something entitled only. The Triple Crown doesn't affect the Kentucky Derby whatsoever. The only race that benefits from the Triple Crown is the Preakness. And if they want to remove themselves from the equation, and just basically the Triple Crown would just cease to exist, I mean, that's exactly what would happen because I don't think we're going to see Belmont push back. All they could. They have room.
If I'm Belmont, by the way, I move everything up to the same week as Preakness.
Yeah.
And then say the next jewel is the Haskell.
Well, that will never happen because you'll never have two come out of the same like NYRA. You wouldn't have two things of the
Haskell's in New Jersey.
Oh, that's right. The Haskell. You didn't say the Travers. I heard the Travers. Somebody said the Travers earlier. You said the Haskell though.
Yeah.
That's
honestly, the danger here for them.
It could be, or just the Triple Crown just goes away because at the end of the day, again, the Triple Crown has no effect on the Belmont because most of the time the Belmont doesn't have a Triple Crown.
Years like this, there's no extra incentive. Yes.
The Derby is going to be the Derby regardless. The only race that benefits is the race, and they're trying to get better horses in that race because there's only one horse that can win the Triple Crown. And if it makes the Preakness better, then let's go for it. I just don't think the Triple Crown pieces are that big of a deal.
Here's what I think they're doing, and I think it's really smart.
They're going to make it move to Santa Anita. They're going to move the Preakness to Santa Anita.
Gulf Street.
Which they could do.
Here's what they're actually doing.
Okay.
You are in real estate.
I am.
Do you always put your best offer out there first?
Depends on the situation.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You've done it before.
Yeah.
Have you not put out your best?
Sometimes.
You bought a house with me.
Yeah.
We did not put out our best offer.
100%.
This is not their best offer.
No. Okay.
No, this is not their best offer.
So it's 3 weeks to compromise?
That is the compromise. That's what they're trying to get to.
And get Belmont to go push back.
That's what they're begging. They're going to beg Belmont to do that. Yes.
Yeah. And do you feel like that makes that much of a difference?
Yes.
Interesting.
I think 3 weeks is a way different amount of time off than 2 weeks. Way different.
I think you're still going to see trainers that are going to look at their investment and know
that's
that
never going away.
Right.
But if you can increase the number of Derby horses in the Preakness to 3 or 4 every year, that changes the game, man.
Yeah.
Just as that's when I saw this news, I smiled and I thought this is them coming to the table and saying, we've got pocket aces, and everyone going, no, you don't.
Yeah, you don't have anything.
No, you don't. You have a decrepit facility. You need to be way better about how you take care of things out there. You have a base in Maryland, and we've hung out with some of these people that are wildly passionate about the sport.
Very
there.
passionate.
And their facilities do not match the enthusiasm. They don't.
And it's been the oldest one of all the Triple Crown races. So.
And that trophy, the Woodlawn Vase, the Vase, everything about it.
Trophy in sports.
In sports, yeah.
Can I add one more?
Go ahead, yeah. Please. You lived
Stronach wants to get rid of it.
You think so?
This is the way that they do that. They're signaling, listen, we're going to move it 4 weeks out because we just don't care anymore. And they're hoping that someone will swoop in and be like, no, we'll take care of this.
We'll buy it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's money to buy it.
Might be a sales thing too.
Yeah.
You know who's not selling things?
Who?
Barry Spears. Do you have a Preakness reaction, my friend?
Hold on, I want to know.
Yeah, definitely. I think they just are in a tough spot all the way around because Derby Day is definitely the biggest day, right?
Sure.
Preakness is like the stepchild of the whole bunch because there's no real foothold because everybody ran those big races on Derby Day. Coming back 2 weeks is not going to be conducive to like the whole card. All those grade 1 races on Derby Day, you get local state bred kind of stakes at Maryland. They don't have any leverage here to start trying to move things around. It's going to ruin their day, and it's going to ruin the Triple Crown. You know, Belmont is the pillar. The two pillars are the Derby and the Belmont. The rest are just details.
Do you think? Do either of you remember like back in the day when Visa you got points for each race and like they gave a prize at the end? Like, would something like that be a better?
Wasn't it like the Visa?
That's the Visa
Triple Crown thing. Yeah. It was a good idea. You know, it kept people in it. They wanted to run in the Preakness, and now it's like it's always a crapshoot. Whether the winner wins the Derby, it's always like I don't know if we're gonna go to the Preakness in 2 weeks.
I don't know why you would, honestly. Like, it really makes.
Well, the way they train horses nowadays,
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Everybody's at least 3 weeks away.
If we're seriously concerned about horse safety,
Mhm.
then it does not make sense. Why would you go run after 2 weeks?
No, I would personally, an extra week would be good. If they went 3 weeks, fine, and that would work out for everybody. But yeah, what they want, what Pimlico wants, is just ridiculous, and it's not going to work.
Let's do it real quick. Let's play the hypothetical out here. Let's say they go to 3 weeks between the races. Would it change how you feel about a horse winning all three?
No,
it wouldn't change a thing for me. How about you?
No, me neither.
I agree with you. Like I remember in 2020 when they moved the Belmont first, Derby second, Preakness third. I said out loud on their show, if someone wins all three of those, that's a Triple Crown.
It's hard to win.
It's impossible.
That was impossible.
That one was impossible.
To go Belmont first.
Well, and it was that one turn mile and an eighth. Remember,
Yeah.
they didn't even do the full mile and a half because it was the first one, and then they came here. There were like 8 of us there, and then freaking Swiss Skydiver wins the Preakness. I mean, that was a wild year, man. Authentic loses to her in the Preakness and comes back a month later. Keelan wins the Breeders' Cup Classic.
So, and
that was a weird year, man.
Impressive fashion.
It was awesome, man. Yeah. So,
all right, what baseball hat you got on?
It is the Expos.
Oh, all right.
that is
All
that is an
that's
Expos.
fantastic.
That is a batting practice hat. How about that?
Yes, it is.
All right,
Yes,
how about
that is correct. The red one.
Yeah, that's.
Also, I wanted to comment on the Mortal Kombat 2 machine behind him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That is one of the greatest logos in sports history, by the way. The Expos.
We have a question
Uh-oh.
on Twitter or on the video here.
Oh, we
I don't know if we can find it, but I think it was from Stephanie asking, why do we care about the Triple Crown? Are there not other bigger issues in the sport? I think embedded in this conversation about the Triple Crown is horse safety, though.
Sure.
Is about stretching these races out so that the horses are safer running with a little bit more time off. And so I would say that this conversation,
And I don't care about the
leans into
Triple
that.
Crown. I mean, I think it's cool if someone does it. Like when Pharaoh did it and Justified did it, it was cool. But at the end of the day, it's not the 3 best 3-year-old races.
yeah, but you're in it.
Yeah.
You're not Joe. Watch
No.
the races, 5 times, 6 times a year. So
Right.
Well, there's a lot of reasons, like the Triple Crown is important, especially because it could be a gateway to get people involved into the sport. I've met a lot of people that have said, oh, well, I saw the Derby in whatever year and so won, and that's when I became involved in the sport. So that's a good thing because it is essentially the only thing that this industry does correctly.
Well, at the end
Up
of the
till
day-
now, now they might screw it up, but the Triple Crown events is what has always worked for whatever reason, good, bad, or otherwise. It's always worked, and to mess with that at this point when we're at our kind of lowest, I don't know if that's a good thing.
The reality, though, is that I don't know if it gets people that interested in the sport. I think it gets them interested in those 3 races.
Yeah, that's true. That can happen. I guess we haven't leveraged it the right way over the years to try to grab people and keep them in.
But you and I both, we were all excited about watching Flightline last year.
okay,
The people in Louisville who are not horse racing fans, they're Derby fans. They have no idea the other horses that are running on that card.
sure.
And when we were, because we're in the sports radio scene, obviously you a little bit more than me, but I think I was doing, for whatever reason, I was doing more sports radio at that time. We had people who had no idea who Flightline was.
Oh, sure.
I mean, and it was just.
And that goes to Barry's point, though, that good, bad, or indifferent, And the Triple Crown matters. I mean, it just does. And to the point that even Fox bought the Belmont rights.
Oh, I did a terrible
Yeah.
job, but yeah.
Well, of course. Well, look, when you have Gus Johnson available and you don't have him call the Belmont, you screwed up. That's just what it is.
I swear.
Let's get creative.
Barry,
He'd be great.
Did you watch that broadcast?
Yes.
I
I taped it actually just so I could criticize it afterwards.
Okay. If you did, I'm almost positive that he said for the 11th straight year, the Belmont Stakes has only 3-year-olds in it. I'm almost positive.
Pretty sure that did happen.
It did happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That's awesome. Well, it's true.
It is true.
It's 11
It's
straight
very
years of
true.
only 3-year-olds
It's
in the
been
Belmont.
more than that, by
I
the
mean,
way.
more than that,
Yeah.
but it's still true.
Unless they got like the Little League pitcher from the Dominican Republic who's really 15.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. All right. What are we talking about? We're going to Colonial down.
Go to Colonial first. Yeah, we'll
Good old
handicap with
Arlington.
Barry. There you go.
All right. We're going to start with the Secretariat Stakes, which is, of course, Secretariat is from the state of Virginia. He's not a Kentucky bred. A lot of people don't realize that.
Even though Kentucky continues to put his silks on their jerseys. Keep going.
On
Yeah.
what, UK jerseys?
Yeah.
Yes. He won the Kentucky
Yeah,
Derby.
they should probably stop doing that
Why?
because it's not Lexington. Keep going.
All right. Well, all right. Race 8 is the Grade 2 Secretariat Stakes, 1 mile on the turf for 3-year-olds. $500,000. You know what? This is the 11th straight year that this race has only had 3 $500,000 on the line here. Who did you like in this one, Louis? I'll pull up my PPs.
Man, I'm interested here, Barry, and I'd love to hear your opinion too. In this kind of race, when people are shipping in, it's interesting once in a while because you get like a Grand Motion who's got a good base already at Colonial, or you get a Marcassi who's got a good base at Colonial. Does that matter in these races to people? We do see plenty of turf shippers come in and win these races, pick them off in these spots. But I do think the Najee Rock, I have no idea how to say that horse's name. The 3 here is an interesting one. Because that horse does nothing but hit the board and be involved in finishes. 4 straight runs here with Flavien Prat. The worst finish is by about, a length of 3/4 last time out at Belmont in the Manila. It's the kind of horse that is, if they're always there at the end, they've got a chance to win. That's kind of how I look at these 2-turn turf races. And so I've got him on top. I would also include most stashes here, Barry, because he's going to inherit the lead, I think. And I think
Yes.
I think Florent Giroux is a good front running jockey. I think that's what he does well. He can time these kinds of races. So I'll be interested to see him. And eventually Charlie Appleby is not going to be winning at 20% in North America.
Okay.
So I do think
He's pretty
Silvermouth
cold
will-
right now, to be honest.
He's very cold right now.
Yeah.
But to me, that cannot last. And so I think the 1's got a shot here. I went 3-4-1. I'm a little chalky here.
He's not going to win an $80,000 pick 6.
No.
Definitely not. Not with this race in there. But I kind of thought this race was a little lacking in the pace department. And I give the edge in this race to Mostache. He really should set some real tepid fractions here, and I don't see anybody that can kind of dictate the pace. It's just him. I think the other horse, Gigante, the 2, was in the American Derby with Mostache and couldn't get the lead that day, even though he kind of goes for the lead. He didn't get it, and he probably won't on Saturday. So I'm gonna take Mostache on top here, and I think also Major Dude looks pretty good.
He's tough.
I'm not sure if we've seen the best of him yet, because his, if you look, I don't know if you guys use buyers or not, but his buyer figures are kind of plateaued at 93, and it's probably going to be closer to 100 to win this race. He kind of got so bad trip last time that kind of forced him to go a little wide, and he didn't have the same punch at the end. Got passed by Nagarog, Talk of the Nation, More Than Looks, but I think he's a lot better than what that showed, and I think he may show up. And then the last horse I kind of threw in as kind of a horse that's kind of on the upswing is the 8 T-at-1. I'll give that one a shot at a big price to kind of round things out.
Yeah, I think you're going to get every bit of 15-1 there. So
Mostache last win was in the Transylvania.
Keeneland.
Keeneland.
Oh no, the horse won on a big stage before for sure.
Yeah.
In restricted
Yeah.
company. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Owned by BBN Racing.
Oh, how about that?
There you go.
There you go.
No checkerboard there.
No.
BBN all the time now. Gonna be getting that post game stuff. You know, let's do
You got a
it.
daughter there now.
I got a daughter there.
Yeah, you're gonna be
doing
unpleasant.
the
I'm
post
looking
game
forward to
shows.
it,
It's gonna be great.
Oh, you're the man.
If I need a co-host on the post game show, you want to do a Kentucky post game show?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, how much fun would you have, Barry? I mean,
Oh man, it'd be so much fun.
It's a whole nother level of interesting people.
I want Barry
It's like
to have to
going
listen to
just-
BBN postgame callers.
just
That's
go to-
what I want. I want Barry to have to deal with the absolute filth of callers that we get on that station.
Imagine going to Walmart right after Kentucky loses.
Oh man, that's
pretty
rough.
ridiculous.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is 100% what it is. All right. This is one of Louis' favorite races. This is the Beverly D.
I do like the Beverly D.
$500,000, mile and 3/16 on the outer turf at Colonial Downs. This is for 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. Let's let Barry go first here. Who did you like in this one, Barry?
This race was kind of crazy because I really didn't think it was a grade 1 field. I mean, Fev Rover is probably the horse that's probably going to get bet, the horse to beat, but I really don't like that horse very much. I think that win at Woodbine was a little bit inflated based on the yielding turf course that day. I think that one just liked it and everybody else kind of didn't. So I'm going to try to go away from the one here. The horse that that's really interesting to me, who I'm going to pick on top, is Gina Romantica, the 6.
I like it.
I like when horses come for their first start of the year and they run a race that's similar to the last race they ran. And that's what this horse did at Monmouth on June 17th. It was a similar kind of race off the bench, probably needed it. The horse was in good position, just didn't win. Now gets Pratt and stretching out a little bit, which will be probably the key. This horse I saw break his maiden way back when. Just looked like a turf horse. And they kind of went away from that. They started running this horse on the dirt for a little while. Then once he got on turf, or once she got on turf, she kind of blossomed, and I think that's going to continue here. The other horse that I thought was kind of who's the foreign horse, Romagna Mia. I think that horse is very good. Just needs a little softer company and getting that on Saturday. Running grade 1, group 1, group 2, group 3 races over in Europe is definitely coming over here, it's a drop in class. So I'm going to give that one a shot. And then after that, it's really up for grabs. I mean, those seem like the only two to me. And if you want to throw in the one, just because that horse is probably pretty good, winning those or coming close to winning group 2s over in Newmarket, Leopardstown, Ireland. So we'll put that one third.
Louis?
Only horse he didn't mention that I think has a legitimate shot here is Didia, the 5, the Argentinian bred.
That's where I thought he was going.
Yeah, I did too. Nacho Correas, and you get Vincent Cheminot. The interesting thing here is that Cheminot has moved his mount to Colonial, so you actually get him locally here. I think she's got a legit shot here. 4 straight wins before finishing second in the Grade 1 New York last time out, behind market segmentation, a Chad Brown trainee. And so to me, has seen that class before. I think actually, even though this is a Grade 1, I agree with Barry. It's a Grade 1 minus Grade 2 plus, whatever you want to call it. I think she's getting a little bit of class relief from that New York race to here. I have Didia on top here, the 5.
Yeah, where's she been? That was my only problem with that horse. Why hasn't she run since June?
I think they gave her a little bit of a freshener here because she ran in 3 pretty good fields before that. Nacho Correas does this. We see him more in the Midwest here. He does this with horses at Churchill and with at Ellis and up in Indianapolis, that kind of stuff. So,
okay.
But I'm with you, man. I think she's good off of freshening, though, too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, or I think she's going to take a lot of money. She's won twice at Colonial, which a lot of these can't say they have wins there. But, yeah, we're going to try something different. I'm going to go away from that one.
Sure.
All right, it's Old Timers Day, so we're going to go to the Arlington Million. $1 million on the line, mile and a quarter on the outer turf. This is for 3-year-olds and up, but I don't think there's any 3-year-olds in this race. I think there's the youngest horse in this year 5. Oh, there's 4-year-olds. Okay. Lots of familiar names, but names that have been around for a long time. That's one of the things we say. You're gonna love horse racing, fall in love with these horses that they're gonna go for a while.
Nothing like a good gelding or ridgeling, Mike.
Is Set Piece actually using a walker to go around the track, or how does that?
Man, that horse seems, that one and Rock Emperor, they seem like they've been running forever.
They're both born in 2016. Masterpiece also in 2016. So who do you like in this one, Louis?
I mean, Set Piece won a grade 3 this year.
Sure.
It's wild. No, it's wild. He's run forever. No, I mean, whatever. 12 wins and 28 lifetime runs. I think Set Piece is going to get nowhere near the finish in this one. I think it's way too long for that horse. If we're mentioning Set Piece here, who I really like, who we watched, man, it was a Derby Day and Oaks Day.
We've watched Set Piece several times.
But one of the great moves up the rail at Churchill we've ever seen. Really fine horse. So I'm not knocking him here overall for the career, but just for this spot, I don't think he's got much of a chance. Is Never Explained the kind of horse that just jumps up again? I got Vincent Cheminot again for some reason. For Shug, ran in that Bowling Green last time behind Channelmaker. Verstappen was coming at the end and then seemed to lose some of that momentum in the mile and 3/8. We get to go a little bit shorter than that here, but not a whole lot. I'm interested to see if he can get back up and get that what we saw in the dinner party where he closed so well at Pimlico. Can we get that form back? I love the number at 6-1, so I'm going to use him on top here in my handicapping. I think after him, you look at a horse like Atone, like what version of that horse is going to show up? And we get Kendrick Carmouche. That's who they're shipping in from New York. So I'm interested to see if Kendrick gets the job done. Last time Kendrick rode this horse at Aqueduct, though, going 2 turns, horse won. So maybe there's something there. So I don't know. Easy to look at that dinner party and see that he finished 5th in a blanket finish by 1 length. That was a crazy finish. We were there. It was awesome. And so I think that you could look at Atone and like him here. I think it's a totally legitimate play as well. Catnip is a weird horse, man. And it's one that he's been in really good form. He's been running well at Monmouth. Sometimes that sandy turf course translates well in other places. Sometimes it doesn't. But I think Catnip's worth using here, especially if you can get a price at all on him. Is it 8-1 right now?
Yeah.
He's hit the board a lot. So if you want to know what's going to hit the board for you, he's doing that. I wanted to ask Barry, who's the better Brown here? A guy who's won this race, 4 times?
Chad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock Emperor? Or is it actually or something different? I mean, is it Adamo the 9? And I can't figure that horse out.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Nobody can. Not even Chad Brown can. He runs in all grade 1s and he gets beat every time. He got kind of lucky, I thought, in the United Nations that he won. But yeah, not so liking the post, not liking it. I'm on the same horse you are. I like Never Explained. I think that last run in the Bowling Green is real telling, because Channelmaker basically got gifted a lead, went very slow, and won. Just totally against this horse's style, and that kind of sets this horse up well for the race on Saturday, because this pace is probably going to be a little bit more honest, and the good track the last time, the good turf, I don't think this horse really loved it. And I think a bounce back effort is in order with that slow pace and everything. This time it should be a different story. I like Never Explained quite a bit here.
All right, we're going to stay on the turf. We're going to go a little further north.
Just a little bit.
Up to Saratoga.
A little bit.
It's always stakes, $150,000, 5.5 furlong sprint. A little turf sprint action here for fillies, for 3-year-old fillies. Where did you land on this one, Barry?
My PPs are slow.
Right. You want me to go look at it?
Stone Silent, the 9, Lone Speed. I don't think anybody else can. For a 5.5 furlong race, there's really not much speed in this race, and I thought that one was the fastest at the distance, early and often. Winner. And I like Love Reigns behind that one too. I'm going to play that Cold Exacta, 9-8.
Little Ricardo and Steve Asmussen getting back together again.
Won 5 of their last Saratoga together.
Yeah.
No, they're actually on fire right now.
Yeah.
Ricardo, with the right trainers at Saratoga, is actually having a nice meet. It's just he gets so many bums that his percentage looks so bad, but he's actually riding really well right now. 7 seconds on top of 6 wins so far at the meeting. And I mean, I cannot believe it. Barry and I arrived on the same horse here in this race. So many freaking horses.
Well, I mean, especially if
we
we're
are
talking about a horse that ran 2 straight allowance races in Horseshoe.
correct. But if you look at the times, that horse is running 55 and
Fast.
change.
It's fast.
I mean, just fast,
Moving.
fast. And we've watched horses come out of Horseshoe and go to other tracks and
And
win.
do well, yeah.
Right. And
absolutely.
so that turf course seems to travel as well to other places. I agree with Barry on Stone Silent. I do think, of course, Love Reigns has a legit shot here. But if you have an opinion about this race and wanted to go deeper, with a longer price, I would not fault you at all, because I do think these are the kinds of races, especially quick turf sprints, also at the listed level, kind of get what you get. And no, if you wanted to find someone else, maybe like a Love Appeals, who just ran well and lost by a neck at Monmouth last time out. That's the kind of horse, the 4 horse 6-1 here. You get Manny Franco, Christophe Clement. That could be the kind of horse as well.
You know who's also sneaky is the 2 horse, Beauty of the Sea. I think that one's going to make an appearance. It'd be right around the, right around it at the end of this race. That last race in the Blue Sparkler, it was a pretty good race. It was fast, and I wouldn't discount that horse at a decent price.
All right.
There you go.
Well,
So I just gave out the triple right there.
there it is. All right.
That's why we pay Barry the big bucks.
The Saratoga Special, which is how do you say Herb's last name? Molis? Moli? How do you say that?
Molis.
Molis. I don't bet you it's not. But you are the linguist. So $200,000 purse.
I just say it confidently. It's like wearing a credential at a racetrack. You just walk past people.
We get to see a little 2-year-old action here on the dirt. 6.5 furlongs. One of our first looks at these 2-year-olds, and I've already got a favorite in this race because there's a horse named Lasso. You gotta love all those references.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you a Ted Lasso fan?
I've only saw 1 episode.
How could you only watch 1 episode and not?
I know my buddy Chuck he's always asking. He's like, you need to watch that show. So I got to get on it.
Simon likes that show. Okay,
I'm actually like legit.
Yes,
I think
he
it's
does.
the
He's a
best
big fan of
sitcom
it.
Ever been created.
All right. Well, okay. That's 2 people that I consider different in taste, and so if you both like it, it's probably pretty good. I've never watched a second.
It's probably good.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, it's probably good. So I love these races, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if Barry feels the same way, because you can actually go back and watch all the replays and not kill yourself, right? I mean, you can actually go watch the horse
Seriously.
Race. Yeah. 2 races.
Well,
right?
no, there's like 10 replays to watch or
Yeah.
whatever. But actually, because they're 2-year-olds, you can go back and you could say, okay, if they break better from the gate, they're gonna run
gonna
better.
do it,
Or
yeah.
if they, if a horse like who was Edified, for example, that horse was in a race at the Churchill part of the Ellis meet, for example, is the Asmussen training here, and that horse gets out and there's a bunch of traffic and just waits its turn, and then a little tap from Joel Rosario, and that horse just makes the move on the outside. It looks like it's been at it forever. That's right. And so sometimes you see that and you're like, okay, that horse can do it again, because if you watch Rhyme Schemes last time out, that horse is 4-5 for a reason. But 2-year-olds don't go back to back like that very often. They just don't. And I love Norm Cassie. I think he has supplanted.
His dad,
Dale Romans as the best trainer of 2-year-olds in our circuit, and I think that he's doing a terrific job. He's having a nice meet up at Saratoga as well. 3 for 6. That's a good start.
it's a real good
It's
start.
a good start. And so winning over 25% of his races. How do you handicap these races, Barry? I guess is how I would ask you.
This one is tough because, like you said, typically 2-year-olds don't pair up numbers like that. You got a 94 buyer, not ideal to come back with a 94. I mean, it's probably almost impossible. But if this horse regresses like to, let's say they run an 80, still probably win this race.
Sure.
That's the only thing. That horse doesn't have to be, as good as he was in the last race in order to win this one. But there was a couple horses that kind of caught my eye: Market Street and Woodcourt, the 2 and the 3. More the 2 because of the experience. Ran in the Sanford last time. Didn't get a good break. I mean, really stumbled badly and just kind of packed it in. So I'm willing to forgive that effort. And I don't really think that horse really needs the lead, because I don't think they're going to want to go heads up with rhyme schemes. But, stranger things have happened if the coach wins a race like this. I mean, it's almost like it's supposed to happen, but we'll see.
Do you have a top selection here? I went 6-5-4. I thought that Edified, I just love that move in the maiden race. Went back and watched Hall. I think that's more of me trusting Todd Pletcher in this spot than anything else.
Yeah, 6-2-3.
Okay.
I thought the 3 ran pretty good first, second time out after, those 4.5 furlong races are kind of tough. Because if you don't get out, you're just kind of finished, and that's what happened. And then this horse came back, won pretty big, did it nicely over at Ellis, and why not give it a shot here?
We didn't really see anybody come out of this race from last year, but the year before that, Gunite finished second.
Oh, there's a ton of horse. This is a big time.
Yeah, Jack Warrior won this
Exaggerator won this race.
Gunnavera won this race.
Gunnavera won this race. That's
So,
right.
you see, this is where you should start paying attention. Union Rags back in the day won this race.
Yeah, the spring 2-year-old stakes, less when you get to this time of year and start seeing these 2-year-olds, we're seeing a Breeders' Cup preview here.
Yeah, these are definitely horses that are thinking that they go to the juvenile.
Yep.
So start paying attention a little bit.
Well, one thing about the 3, Woodcourt,
Yep.
you see who that horse is now in Brendan Walsh's barn, but came out of John Ennis' barn. I mean, he basically grooms these 2-year-olds to win early and then sell them, to be in races like this. So I think that one is very well meant. Whether, he can win or not on Saturday is another story, but I would think that horse probably has a little more run than they're giving credit for in the morning line.
And every single one of these horses, except for Market Street that you all talked about, is coming off a win, which is kind of cool, kind of fun.
That's cool.
All right, Fourstardave, $500,000 race mile inner turf course here at Saratoga for 3-year-olds and up. You get something to say to me? It looks like you know the comments.
We're on video, so I'm making it look like I'm interested in what you're talking
about.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, the Annapolis handicap here. With Casa Creed.
Casa Creed's back in here. Yeah.
So is that what it is? Are we looking at a match race between those two?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Casa Creed, that horse is really, really good. I mean, we should talk more about him more often because he's very good. If you look at all his races, he's just always there. He's at long distances, at short distances. I mean, he won this race last year fairly easily. And I think he's going to do it again in sort of the same fashion. There's really not much in here to beat anyway. I mean, the 3, seriously? My Seat Cottage? Come on. Full screen? I mean, I wouldn't doubt if those horses, one of them scratches.
Right.
Emmanuel's a horse that I kind of like. He's gotten a little bit better since he's rated. But I don't think that's going to help him in this case because he's not a better closer than Casa Creed. So he's in a tough spot, and he'll probably have to get involved a little earlier from the rail, which probably isn't ideal. But yeah, it really looks like Casa Creed, Annapolis, and Iced Chocolate cold.
Barry and I are usually very different on races. I could not agree more. If someone's going to upset the apple cart here, it is the 7 Ice Chocolat. He got a terrible trip in the Kelso and still made a good run out of it. I mean, a legitimate terrible trip in the Kelso. It was still there at the end within 3 lengths under Flavian Pratt. It's a step down to Joel Rosario, but it's not some kind of, cataclysmic step down to Joel Rosario. And so,
Joel's winning races these days, so you kind of
also he's doing that, correct? And
he wasn't
peppering the board like crazy as well. And this is the kind of horse, like Barry just mentioned, that can come in second or third in an exacta or trifecta and really make you smile.
All right. Well, that's our handicapping special for today.
There you go.
Yeah, we're all there. Barry, thanks for joining us.
Anytime, fellas. Yeah. Love being on with you guys.
Yeah, you've been on quite a bit this year. So.
I was talking today about Barry coming on the show, and Barry's only comment was, remind Barry that I beat his ass in the Derby draft. That's right. Yeah.
You did.
So Daniel knows who you are. How about that?
I think like 2 of my horses got scratched too. I think
it was bad.
At least 2.
Yeah, you got the first pick, you get Forte, and then they're like, yeah, not so much. Yeah, there it is.
And I had the Japanese
Urban
horse.
Urban Handicapper on all the socials. Make sure you go follow him. Going in Circles does a huge set of work around Saratoga. So obviously that's going on right now. He mentioned Chuck earlier. As good as you're going to get, and it's a Substack thing, so you can go support them there as well. Going in Circles every Monday as well. With Barry, we appreciate him jumping on, man. Good luck this weekend.
All right. Thanks. Good luck. Cash
All
those
right.
tickets, man.
All right. So let's, give everybody a little update on what's going on with First Gen Sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much of an update are we getting?
Let's do it.
All right, we just do the whole thing. Zach, you want to jump in with us?
I think overall people want to know. I mean, if they haven't been to the site yet, firstgensports.com, because the football coverage is going to start picking up.
We had some really nice coverage over the summer of NBA Finals and NBA Draft.
Yep.
Our guy Jay Davis does that coverage, and he came back and did a ranking of his favorite NBA players of all time.
Okay.
By decade.
Was Issel in there?
Yes.
Right,
as an also, as like a
honorable mention.
Honorable mention in the 70s.
Also eligible. He was an honorable mention in the 70s.
He was.
All right, wait a minute. How many guys from each decade did he go with?
5.
Okay, I can probably.
Okay.
But he would have probably been like 6. I mean, he had to be like right there.
He actually, what's interesting is the longest piece outside of the top 5 guys is about Issel, and how underrated he essentially is if you go to it. So, 80s, where's the 70s?
More protective.
Well, we should be.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to keep in mind that the 70s was split leagues until 75.
Yeah. Right.
So it's really hard to make a top 5 decision there.
But essentially, it was like Kareem, Dr. J, like the names you hear, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And he put Artis ahead of Dan.
Okay.
And we asked Dan about it, and Dan said, yes, I agree, Artis was a better overall basketball. And I don't think he's a better scorer. That's not a question. But Artis as a rebounder, defensive player was better.
So, what else as we get into football season, what do people like pay?
Yeah, so we're gonna start a
I'm totally throwing this on you guys.
No, that's all right. A series. I wanted to give you the top 5. Kareem, Julius Erving, John Havlicek was in his top 5.
Okay. Ohio State.
Rick Barry.
All right.
And then Artis Gilmore was his top 5. Honorable mentions: Elvin Hayes, Bob McAdoo,
Bill Walton,
Tiny Archibald, Walt Frazier, Dan Issel, Willis Reed, and Dave Cowles. That's a group. That's a decade. Yeah, right. So, no, I thought Jay did a really nice job with that. But 1stgensports.com, we started doing this. I do something every Saturday based around the races that we've handicapped on this show. So if you want to see my picks essentially in written form, me talking through them, you can check that out. Our guy Kevin Kilroy at Trust Your Luck on Twitter comes on every Friday with Dan and me. He's presented by the Kentucky HBPA. He has been writing, what did we miss from the week before? And those are very, very popular. He also did our most popular article ever on the site, which was about IRAD not getting taken down in the Whitney, and how he agreed with the decision.
Okay.
After thinking about it, which was interesting. And then starting in the fall, we are going to be putting out what's called the Gold Book. People can subscribe with us on the website, or they can buy it individually. Essentially, any day that we run in Kentucky, any day that NYRA runs, any day there's a race in Southern California, once that championship meet picks up at Gulfstream, we're gonna have a set of picks for you, and we're gonna put those together. And then, unlike our the traditional pick sheet that you would see, the tip sheet that you would see, we're gonna have football during the football season. A couple picks every single day that they're playing college football or the NFL. So on Thursdays you'll get some NFL, you get some college. On Fridays and Saturdays you might get a little MACtion or whatever it might be, and then Saturday get into the big games, and then Sunday we'll have a full slate of NFL picks.
Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
Of my SEC picks.
Or
I'm actually going to do something.
Confident person. I'm kidding, man. You cover it like crazy.
I'm actually going to be. I think I'm going to have an article out a little bit closer to the start of the season, just about the over under on the wins total, about which ones I like, and which ones I don't like. So, be on the lookout for that. So, yeah.
But a bunch of great stuff. We're also going to have some guests in the Gold Book.
Yeah.
Let people know. Maybe a little Dan Issel appearance.
Okay, well, Scott Issel.
We should probably have a Scott Issel appearance instead. But you'll be able to check that out. First Gen Sports, 1ST Sports. We'd love to get those social media numbers up too. So if you are on socials, go ahead and check us out at First Gen.
All right. Zach's been working really hard on that too, Zach. You're pretty amazing.
Big time.
What do you want to add?
What are you talking about? I don't do any work. I just hang out.
Just have a beautiful beard and listen to Louis.
That's right. All right, man. Zach, anything to add to that?
What's that?
Anything to add to it about First Gen Sports?
God, I hope that's
Um,
getting broken into. Or your jank office.
what can I add beyond what Louis just added? No, I think
We're going to be an affordable option. That's kind of the difference here too.
Yeah.
Is that we're going to be an affordable option.
we're and the idea is all you can eat site. It's going to be beautiful. We have over 170 articles on First Gen right now across the sports, sports history,
All
You can
for
get- if you can't
basketball,
sleep and you love horse racing,
college football. Yeah.
firstgensports.com on your phone while you're trying to sleep.
Horse
Just read the
racing.
articles and you'll be good to go.
Whereas most sports sites have all the other sports and very little about horse racing. We have all the other sports and a lot about horse racing.
For
So
now.
Playboy, that people come to us for the articles.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right.
All right. Centerfold coming out of me of Mr. November.
Oh my god.
Margot Robbie offered $1 million to sell our feed picks. What do you think your feet are worth?
Oh, yeah, easy. I'm like, people, if they're into grotesque things,
Hairy,
hairy,
Unkempt.
jagged
Yeah, right.
toenails, the ingrown toenail with pus coming out of it.
oh no, not that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say that Mike had an OnlyFans account called Big Fudge, but I know there's somebody who already has it.
Yeah, don't go to that. I do have to give a shout out. Our guy Mike Mills is going to the Arlington Million this weekend, which you besmirched.
Yeah.
But he's a Virginia guy. He's excited to see a grade 1 in the state of Virginia. So,
I will actually be in Virginia on Saturday.
So shout out to Mike Mills, who's been on this show. Refused to go shirtless with us, so he's not really a friend of the show.
I still think he qualifies. So
Okay.
he's good, yeah.
I guess I met his dad. So.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's get out of here, play some music.
All right. We'll pay the tab, get on out. Take care.